Talk with Trapzilla. First episode, here with Paul Linn. Paul, you obviously just had one of your biggest matches of your career with John. What did you take from that match? Like, what did you get? What do you think you need to work on? What did you get from the match?
So first off, what I got was probably the best experience that I had in arm wrestling so far. Anytime you get the opportunity to arm wrestle or do anything against the greatest of all time in something, I think you grow as a human no matter what. What I took away from the match itself was that John has a level of constant pressure that he applies in different angles that I've never felt before. It's a constant static pressure. Against me, he definitely targeted my bottom two fingers, my finger containment. He has such a large hand, such great pronation that he kept constant pressure into my bottom two to keep me from that side pressure lane that I like to go to when I'm trying to pin that downward pressure. Every time I would hit that, he would just add a little tick more so smoothly. In every match, that's what I felt the most.
One bottom toe.
Upward rotational pressure into my fingers, keeping me as flat and extending my fingers, which takes away so much of that pinning power. So for me, the takeaway is if I want to be able to compete with John specifically in his style, that I definitely have to get stronger as far as those fingers and the containment aspect.
How long did you have to prepare for John?
I had about 9 weeks.
How was the build-up to that match compared to the build-up of your first WAL match? Like mentality,
there were no excuses, no regrets in this match at all. I approached it, the only downside that I did have was I wasn't football season during this match. So the entirety of that prep time was coming while I was trying to do 3 to 4 hours of football coaching a day. I still was able to find a way to do double days. I took it down to basically a science, 3 or 4 different areas that I needed to focus on and get to the point where it's the strongest I've ever been in those angles. I was able to focus on them. I gained a little bit over 17 pounds for the match because I came in at like 215, like when I found out about the match, and John wanted it to be 225, so I needed to target that 230, which I got to. My gym strength was through the roof. Had no injuries, nothing like that was going to hold me back from performance. So when I look at the total camp, I can look at myself and say for sure that that's the strongest I've ever been. Now, is it the strongest I ever been per like my body weight? I don't know. I might have been stronger at 205 in WAL. That's just about the sweet spot. But for me, total body strength, the camp was unbelievable. My diet was as good as it could be. I ate as much as I possibly could. Cut alcohol out for like the last 4 weeks of the stint. So definitely no regrets. Did everything I could do.
Do you have any plans for the rest of the year? Any events or?
No. I'm gonna go and help James Reed at a bunch of his tournaments that
he has one coming up in New York, right?
Yeah, I'll go to that one. Don't plan on pulling. I'll probably be reffing and helping with registration and everything. After that, I got a bunch of other tournaments that I'm going to go to work at or to promote or host myself. We also have New Way Combat has reached out to James and myself about a partnering of arm wrestling into their promotion now, which is largely like almost like a fitness expo but geared towards combat sports. They want to usher arm wrestling into it. So we're going to beta test that. I forget the date, but that's going to be in Atlantic City. And then we're going to go to Oklahoma also to beta test that as well.
Is there any plans for next year?
Arnold's? If WAL comes back, that's definitely the plan. If they do, but I think most of us that signed a WAL contract aren't holding our breath anymore. Yeah. We're waiting and hoping, but we're not holding our breath. So if if everything's good with the Arnold and COVID and everything else, then definitely do that. If travel loosens up, I'd absolutely love to go overseas. Arm Wars, I've talked to Neil. As long as they'll let me in without a vax, I'll go. Same with any promotions that might happen in Dubai. I'd be very interested in doing something like that. We also talked about a collaboration with Chance Shaw, maybe host a tournament, a little super match series or something. Just floating some ideas around there.
If you could have another match, a dream match, who do you want next?
Ideally,
if WA come back, who would you want?
Ideally, I would want RVJ.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with like, calling RVJ out. It's just RVJ's the guy. He's the man. He's the man. That's, he's where I want to eventually be. So to me, we've never pulled. That's the most interesting match for me. And I feel like I have a good enough skill set to be able to match up and at least put on a decent show.
If WA never comes back, who do you want?
Probably Rob.
Have a big yeah.
I would definitely want that to be under the WAL umbrella. I wouldn't want to waste that opportunity under a smaller promotion. Yeah. But there's a lot of guys out there that I've had matches proposed about during this time. So I constantly get match offers. But a lot of times it just comes down to my schedule, what I have going on, and how much I want to put into something. I'm not going to take a match if I'm not going to train for it correctly. Yep. So I'm not just going to take it and say, all right, well, I got this coming up. Hey, why not? I'm gonna make sure that I put the best version of myself on the table if I take a match.
Where do you see this going in 2022 with Larrywheels, Brandon Allen, everyone? I feel like every fitness show now has big name arm wrestlers. WWE guys are getting involved now. Like I see it going to the moon next year. I don't know if
it's hard to say if it's going to explode like that.
Yeah.
But I think the trajectory has been like this.
Yeah.
So I think like if you look at like the total clicks or the total people who are tuning in or searching for arm wrestling, I think we stand a probability of being very high to at least double that number. Mm-hmm. And I think that we'll do that essentially every year. Just because, like you said, the amount of famous people that are getting involved, and the idea of guys like Michael Todd, like Devin Larrett, and that Travis Bajent, and these bigger name guys that are really collaborating and going around the country and working with these people outside of arm wrestling. I think that's the biggest thing. And then the reemergence of John Brzenk. Like John Brzenk's a legend. People who don't know arm wrestling know John Brzenk. They know him from Over the Top. They know him from Wide World of Sports. If you've been around and you've ever heard of arm wrestling and know it's a thing, then you know John Brzenk. And oh, by the way, John Brzenk's back and he has a YouTube channel and he's got 1 million.
Going nuts.
He got 1 million views in like 3 weeks, which is nutty. So yeah, sky's the limit.
That sounds good. Thank you very much, Paul. Being the first boy on Trapzilla's Table Talk. Thank you.